everyone. Well, we made it to the last day. Not the best of conditions to start with. -5 in the car down to the boatyard, and when I got to the boat it was completely frozen solid. All the covers, the boat dike had half an inch, quarter of an inch of cat ice on it. I've just had to literally wait for a little while, cut a hole in the ice to get my live baits, which I did, and I was quite chuffed about that. I managed to get a dozen live baits in about half an hour through a little hole, Eskimo style. Yeah, I've waited for the sun to come up a little bit more, just to try and melt the ice in the dike a bit, to make it a little bit easier to get out, but it was still quite hard work. Ran my way out in the end, onto the main river, no problems here. The river looks actually quite nice. It doesn't look too bad. A little bit more colour in it than there was last week. But what I'm going to do is head towards the city, make a start there. There's been a lot of pike holed up in the city reaches, so that's a good place to start today. I've got live baits, got dead baits, so I'll cover everything on the fishing front. I've just got to hope the river's in some sort of decent nick. Anyway, I'll get back to you when we get down there and set up. We'll see what happens. Just approaching Norwich. Another couple of minutes and I'll be in my swim. I'll have a quick look at the river. It doesn't look too bad from here, but I'll have a look, assess the situation, get some rods set up. Don't think I'll be moving around much today. I'll try and maximise the time for 1 or 2 swims. The swim I want is between the bushes in the middle of the Riverside Road. So we'll see what happens when I get there. Hi again. Well, I eventually made it, and as you can see now, probably by my squinting, that the sun's come out with a vengeance. I've had to ditch my top 2 layers already. And yeah, it's not a bad day. It's probably not the best for fishing, but at least I'm out and having a go. What I've done is I've put a dead bait down the back of the boat in usual position, just off that margin there. There's a little shelf, it drops away, and normally just on that drop you place a decent sized dead bait. There's a big old sardine on there, and just to complement that, I've now rigged a live bait just down the front of the boat there, and that's the opposite direction against the flow, but it's working lovely down there. It's in the same sort of area on the top of the drop off. These are the 2 sort of favoured areas when we fish this side of the river. As I say, it's quite bright, not the ideal conditions, but the river's a little bit better. It's more fishable than I thought it might be. We've got a couple of anglers fishing. We've got a guy over there who's going to be fishing the pole by the looks of it. And we've got another pike angler down by the bridge there. He hadn't had nothing by the time I come through, so it might be a bit hard, but hey, I'm out here. I don't care. Last chance saloon. Right guys, I've decided on a move. I've moved up river about 500 yards. I've moved into a swim. It's always done me proud, this swim. I had the first ever 20 out of this swim, and my only ever 20 to be honest with you. It's just under this bush here. I'm going to try and get the depth exactly right. Yeah, the idea is to get the depth exactly right, so the slightest indication they know it's having to go. I've literally got to position it just at the edge of the bush. There you go. Spot on. Carry on with the big smelly sardine which I've been using, but I'm going to change the hooks into one of my flashy hook storage systems. Damage took on this one, so straight away that's for the bin, and we use a freshly tied trace. Two large size 4 trebles, semi-barbed. One of them sport and bait blade, reverse that round, so cover both sides. Depth's right, just got to get it in position now. This is the important bit. Just a swing out, an underarm swing. Let it drift round it and then the other side. That is almost spot on. What I'll do, set the drag, just in case. The second rig, I'm going to carry on with the tethered live bait and put it just on the edge of the flow, and that's the rig I expect to go if we get bite. Shallow in it. I'm just going to push this in the same direction but further out. Come off a little bit. So this swim normally guarantees a run, whatever the conditions. We normally get a run out of this swim. And it's normally a decent fish, to be honest with you. We've had loads of doubles out there. And that's perfect. That's where the live bait's going to be tethered. The float's just registering the bottom. You can put a live bait on that. We should be in business. Up trace, rotten bottom, 2 ounce lead, and then we're going to suspend a live bait just off bottom. It's a quick attachment system, helicopter set up there so it can swim around the line, not get tangled. Position it now. Not bad. Not bad at all. Bait runner on. Again, just to give it a bit of an audible warning if it does slip me gaze for a second. But there we are. We're set up in the famous shit pit swim, we used to call this for some reason. One live, one dead. Come on. Right, the baits have been in position now for about 5 minutes. I just want to show you how close in this rig is. This bush is literally at the back of the outboard motor. We've got about 3.5 to 4 feet of water just under the edge of the bush here, and then it drops away there to about 5 foot where the float is. And there's another little shelf there, and then it drops away again to the main river on a slow slope out to about 12-15 feet. But that little shelf there seems to be a little patrol route up and down this line of bushes here, and it seems to attract and hold pike. It's a perfect little ambush spot. And if you can see in the distance out there, my live bait's just working away out there. You get the occasional ripple as the bait moves, which tells me it's still on. There's normally no mistake. It normally either jumps up clean out the water and lays flat, or a couple of little bobs and it'll slide away. It gives me plenty of time. This particular dead bait rig down on the edge here, it's normally it's the same thing. You get a decent amount of warning, you get a few ripples coming about, you get plenty of time normally. It's not an instant bite. It's fairly big chunky bait on there, big old sardine. We normally wait for it to pick up, take a bit of line. What we think they actually do is once they've picked up is they then head either one way or the other, past the boat this way or away from the boat with the bait, and as soon as we feel a bit of tension on the line we can tighten down and whack and get them in straight out, try and lead them out into the open water where we can play them. On a couple of occasions we've had fish take the bait and literally kite straight into the snag, which is, I should think it's a fairly substantial load of twigs and trees and all sorts down there, and that's it, game over. You know, if they go in there it's game over. But normally 9 times out of 10, as soon as we pick up we lift in and then steer them, plenty of side strain, steer them out the snag out into mid water and play them out there in the safe. We've got a take already. Bait's now going. We'll just lock off and see what happens. See the bait going. I'm going to put the camera down now and I'll get back to you. Well, here we are again. This is swim number 3 for today. It's now 12:30. I've had 3 runs all day, including one in here about 10 minutes ago, just down by the bush there. And I've missed all 3 for some reason. They don't really seem to be taking it. Very gentle pickups. I'm waiting for as long as I dare. This time, this last one, I waited for the float to slide away and go completely under, tighten up. I had the fish briefly on for a few seconds and it was off again. Story of the day really. 3-0 to the Pike. I've just moved from the previous swim, which is sort of just up there in that gap. So I'm only about 150 yards further upstream. I thought I'd give it a go against the other part of the wall here, which we can never fish from that swim. In the last 20 minutes, half an hour, we've also had a fairly steady flurry of snow, which has thankfully now stopped. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like it's going to get any better. Although fishing this river, I know in past experiences it can suddenly switch on and you'll get 2 or 3 runs in a very short time. A bit like it did earlier, we had 2 runs in like 10 minutes earlier. It can just switch on. So it's, as I say, it's 12:30. I'm going to kick the arse out of it today. I don't intend to finish till 4:30, 5 o'clock. So I might give it a little bit longer here in this swim, and then leapfrog a couple of little spots on the way back to the mooring. I've got to try and pick up a fish from somewhere. I can't finish blank today, although to be fair I've had 3 chances, so I'm doing my best. But anyway, yeah, typical end of the season. Finally. Lively little fish. Live little fish, about 3 or 4 pound, but I don't care, it's a fish. Well, that one counts. About £3 or £4, little jack. Just a good trotted live bait. Desperation tactics. Got me my fish. It's only 4-1 to the pike now. Don't feel so bad. Just then thinking of a move as well. Lovely. Right, as you can see, we're now out of the city centre and we're back into a nice rural surrounding. This part of the river is about halfway between the city centre and the boatyard, and we often stop along here either on the way or on the way back just to give it a look. There's a couple of really nice looking swims along here, plenty of rubbish hanging in the water which the pike like. Flow's a little bit too much today, I think, but we'll give it half an hour here. We can't really do any worse than we have done in the city. The pike is still 4-1 up. I think I've had this coat on and off more times than Chelsea have changed their manager lately. I'm not taking it off anymore, it's staying on there no matter whether the sun comes out or whether it snows. But I've basically got 2 ledged smelts now, float ledged smelts. On the bottom. That one's on top of the shelf, that one's at the bottom of the near shelf, both for sort of patrol routes. I'm just going to give this half an hour, 3/4 of an hour now. If we don't get nothing here, then it really will be last chance saloon back at the boatyard. We're pushing 3 o'clock now. It's probably its warmest it's been all day actually. Typical last day of the season. I think the last 2 years I've sat along this part of the river on the way back and actually sunbathed rather than catch fish. It's just, it seems to be the same thing. The difference this year is the river's full of extra water, lots more colour, plenty of rubbish floating down. It always shows great potential along this bit of the river, but we've never really give it a big chance. We've never spent a lot of time down there. We haven't had a quick look. I think if you did do more homework on it and found a few sort of deeper places, changing depth, fish holding areas, I think you could probably do well along here because it rarely gets fished. But as I say, we'll give it a half an hour, 3/4 of an hour here, and if not, we'll then move back towards the boatyard. Finish off just outside in the main river. So that just about wraps up another season. Got about half an hour to go. I'm back in the boatyard. We normally catch our first pike in here at the beginning of each season, and we normally catch our last. Even that's not working today. It's just been one of those days. I've had 4 pike on. Sorry, I've had 5 pike on. I've got 1 out and 4 off, so just one of them days really. Bit of a damp squib to the end of the season. It's been an up and down season this year. We had it's been dominated really by the weather, bad weather we've had from mid-November onwards. Basically for 6 or 7 weeks we had solid rain, which put the rivers in a terrible state, put them in flood. It was in flood for over a month. Then it took another 3 weeks for all the colour and debris to drop out. And just as the river started to clear and fine down and the fishing started to improve a bit, then we had a big dump of snow just after Christmas, the end of January, and sort of back to square one again for the rivers. Another 3 weeks ruined for the snow water to go in and then through the river, for the river to clear. And then yeah, we're just sort of leading up to the last month of the season. Prospects were looking fairly good. Up to a week and a half ago, it was just starting to improve, and the colour was right, the flow was right, and you would start to pick up a few decent fish. I had the biggest fish of the season, not last Sunday, Sunday before, 17 pound odd. Apart from that, really, I've had more, quite a few doubles this year, but you know, numbers way down this year, and that's really due to the amount of trips that we lost and the weekends that we lost due to the weather. So chalk it down to experience. Go away, lick our wounds, come back next year. I'm not sure if we'll be doing this boat next year. We may be going for something a bit smaller, a bit more manoeuvre on a trailer where we can sort of drop it in different places. We're considering doing a campaign up the fens next year, just for something different really. I've enjoyed the rivers around Norwich City, but I think it's time for a change. So hopefully next time you see me, you will be in a different location, with a different boat, different fish. Till I see you again, tight lines.